Hey everybody, it's Andy. I am so happy to be back helping you build a career you love. After a few weeks of being on the road, I am back at home with you. So welcome everybody to our usually regularly scheduled Thursday show. It's 11 Central in the U.S., noon Eastern, and I'm back and it feels great. I missed you guys. I've got a couple of quick announcements that I want to make everybody aware of, and then we will roll right into your questions. So, I was gone a couple of weeks because I was in California, and while I was in California, I went there to visit some family. I have some family in Northern California and in Southern California. All my siblings, they know better than I do. They don't like the Chicago weather, so they all moved. So I did a little road trip with my wife. And while I was gone, the thrill for me, which, I mean, obviously seeing my family and my brothers and in-laws and nieces and nephews was fantastic, but it was an absolute thrill to be able to spend a bunch of time with you, with the community members in the Mile Walk Academy. So we had a meetup in San Francisco. Then about 10 days later, we had in California, we had a meetup in Orange County in California. And I know some of you are probably here today. I'll notice you when I look through the chat, but I can't thank you enough for. I know some of you drove hundreds of miles just to give me a handshake and a hug, and it was really great to meet you. I love putting the faces with the names, and I was really thrilled that. And I guess it was maybe somewhere between 3 and 4 dozen people, I think in total, were able to get together, get connected. And if you were in those groups, this weekend or early next week at the very latest, will distribute all the pictures and get you guys connected with your emails and your phone numbers and all that good stuff. So I really appreciate that. One other thing I want to mention, you probably, for those of you that are on my email list, got some emails this week that we did a boot camp session last night. We did. And that session, which is now recorded, we showed you exactly how to unlock the LinkedIn database to find virtually anybody that you're looking for based on using some Boolean strings, also known as LinkedIn X-ray. But we demonstrated how to find people to target for hiring, for networking. We also showed you some tools, some details on how to locate their email address, how to verify it, and then also how to know whether they read it, what they did with it, if they forwarded it, and all that good stuff. If you missed the deadline for the special pricing, there was $100 off to get in, not only just for that session, but for everything that goes along with the boot camp. If you email me at support@milewalk.com, I will be happy to give you the discount if that's something you are interested in. But it was a phenomenal session. Now, a few calendar items. Next week on Thursday is the 4th of July in the U.S. I will be off. However, the following week, on Tuesday the 9th, Wednesday the 10th, and Thursday the 11th, I have a 3-part live workshop. We're going to do it at this time during the day, called my Job Search Accelerator. You'll be seeing some announcements through social media, things of that nature. I won't be sending emails in the morning each morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for alerts. So if you want to make sure that you get alerted for when I go live for that workshop, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, because we'll be putting the stuff up on YouTube and you'll be able to set your reminders and those kind of things. It's going to be a great one. The first day, we actually have a page that we will be circulating for you. Actually, Kara, I know we're going to make some updates to the page, but you know what? If you want, I think this crew is savvy enough. It's going to be on YouTube. If you want, Kara, go ahead, maybe put the link in anyway. We're gonna be making some updates to the page, but you can see the dates, the times, and the content. And the content is, the first day is going to be on the fastest way to make a career change. So how do you make a wholesale change? How do you make a pivot? How do you do that fast and successfully? Second day is on networking concepts, and the third day is on positivity and making sure that you're focusing on the right activities that yield the fastest results, metrics that I want you to watch to know the health of your of your search. So it's a 3-parter. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be Q&A, all that good stuff, kind of like what you're used to from me. If you don't know this yet, anything that I just announced, also including like our boot camp dates, my Leadership Monthly Live coaching, and all that stuff, we keep that updated on the Mile Walk Academy calendar. If you go to milewalkacademy.com, there is a little calendar icon at the top. If you click it, there's a Google Calendar, and you can see it all, and you can even sync it to any of your calendars. So if you have Outlook or Apple's iCal or your Gmail or whatever, you can sync that, and you'll know when I'll be available for live coaching. So that's something that's pretty good. The other thing, actually, I guess there are 2 things. If you don't know this, because we don't advertise this a ton, we do hit the new people who join us. I've got this catalog. Don't know if you can see it, but basically it shows, it's kind of a thickie, but it will show you everything that's available to you in the Mile Walk Academy. It's all of the free stuff. It's the webinars. It's the video series. It's the live office hour stuff. It's all that good stuff. Then it also talks about some of the premium programs that we offer. So those are the paid training and coaching programs that you can get in. So anyway, so just grab that. You can also grab that at the milewalkacademy.com. Up at the top, there is an item that says catalog, and if you go to the Mile Walk Academy page, you can also grab your free Interview Intervention book. And that's it for me on announcements. All right, I'm gonna run through the chat here, and I think we're all good. I see we got a question with Krista. How are you, Krista? It was so great to see you the other day, or a week or so ago. And that was really nice meeting you and Attila. I really love that. God, just love that. All right, you've got interviews tomorrow. You have all the questions to ask from the hiring manager and the person who holds the same position at another company or at another location. Andy, what do I ask from 2 direct reports? Excuse me. Oops. Whoa, that went down the wrong pipe. All right. Excuse me. So let me start this one again. All right, you got an interview tomorrow. You have all the questions to ask from the hiring manager and the person who holds the same position at another location. What do I ask from 2 direct reports? I'm assuming you mean they would be your direct reports. I'm assuming that's the case. One of the things that I would highly recommend for anybody who's interviewing for a managerial position, when you have an opportunity to talk to people who would report to you, there is obviously a great need for you to be able to get them to like you, to feel that you will inspire them, coach them effectively, maybe give them the opportunities, whether that's opportunities to do new things, more things, level up, whatever it might be. Some people want autonomy. Some people want somebody to watch over them a little more tightly. You never know exactly what's going to drive their interests until you ask them. So what I would do if I was interviewing with individuals who would report to me is, the first thing that I would say is it's very important to me that I'm creating an environment that you thrive and enjoy. I want you to be happy and I want you to perform well is basically what I'm saying. So, what type of environment would that look like? What would that environment look like? And if you'd like, share with me what you do today that you love and where the gaps are for you in happiness and performance. Tell me. Okay, so that's one thing that I would want to do. I would want to get from them. And then what that will do is it will actually breed a number of things that they will share with you. So you ask them one direct question that's going to yield a pot full of gold that you can then in turn reply back to them and say, okay, well, this is great to know. Here's how I would approach that or do that. Obviously, I know that there are certain protocols inside your company that I would have to learn. But anyway, I would always go at their heart, right? They want to know that you are going to make their lives better. That's the person that they're that they're going to want to work with. And this is fairly common practice that that organizations will have a senior person interview with the people who will be directly reporting to them. They want to get a feel. Now, they may take it under advisement, those people's feedback, or they may completely dismiss it. Either which way, I would still want those people to like me in the process and be part of my team that's going to advocate to get me hired. So I would poke around that. One other thing that I would do, Krista, since you're in the boot camp, you have access to the hiring prophecies. And I know I sent you a signed copy of the hiring prophecies. So you have the hard copy and you have the eBook and the audiobook. And inside there is a section about how I would have the employer approach the candidate. And I break it down by whether it's the senior level folks interviewing, whether it's peer-to-peer, or whether it's the subordinates. And what I would also do is I would look at my recommendation for how I would recommend that the subordinates evaluate the person who's going to be coming in to be their boss. That's one other place I would go. The other place I would go is in interview intervention, in the storytelling chapter, in the Get Them to Care section. You will also find more on this. That's what I would do. All right, hope that helped. Hey, Steve, how are you? Let me see. Kevin, got a question. How are you, buddy? Boot camper friendly. Oh, look, we got a couple boot campers right in a row. Krista, Kevin, Maya. All right. What are your thoughts on using a 30, 60, 90-day plan to outline exactly what you plan to accomplish? I've had huge success in the past with this, but did not hear it mentioned in the boot camp. Actually, we have talked about this in the boot camp, and the one thing that I would do here is I always, so let me put it this way. There's certain positions that I would I would always prepare a 30, 60, 90-day plan. If I had to sell anything, if I had to market anything, if I had to build a product, if I had a large project or a portfolio that I was going to manage, and those kinds of individuals, it is always effective to have a plan, a 30, 60, 90-day plan to do that, to prepare it for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you go into the interviewing process, and by the way, I am not a fan of saying, hey, I developed this 30, 60, 90-day plan, let me show it to you. I don't like that approach. I as an interviewer might not care if you have a 30, 60, 90-day plan, and I don't want to see it. But what I would rather you do is I would rather you put it together first for your own benefit to make sure that that project or that company and that position and what they want you to do is something you think is reasonable and that you would be effective at it, so you're doing it for yourself. And then the second thing that I would do is somewhere in the interview process, if they do not request it, one of the things that I would do is I would bring up the fact that I put one together for myself. So as I was, going through, this process, to make sure that I'm making a good decision, I put together, a 30 and a 60 and a 90-day plan. It's a high-level approach based on what I learned in my research and what I've learned during the interviews. So you don't pull this out early in the process. And what I've learned in my interviews, because you want to let them know that you were gathering intelligence and you were using it properly to make a good decision. You're sending lots of great signals by saying it this way. So I put this together for myself. I used the research that I gained in the interviewing process, and I've put together this plan. I realize I only know so much, but it was important for me to have an understanding of how I would go about this and whether I would be successful, and it turns out that I feel pretty good. Is there any chance that you'd like to look at it and maybe you could let me know if I missed anything? So what you're doing is you're asking them if they can help you, not, hey, I want to show it off to you. Now, you ultimately want to do that, but there is a huge difference in the way that I present that as opposed to somebody that comes in that says, oh, I always put together a 30, 60, 90-day plan and I'd like to show it to you. So what you want to do is you want to use a little honey, and as you spit it out, you want to make sure that you're selling yourself in the process. But I do recommend that you do that. for those types of positions. And if you have had good luck with it, I would stick with it. I wouldn't change it, but I might dial it up. I don't know. Maybe you did do it the way that I recommended there, but that's how I would approach that. Now, some companies, of course, actually request them. So, hey, every time we want to hire a salesperson, every time we want to hire a product development manager, every time we want to hire a senior project manager, we ask them to put a 30, 60, 90-day plan together and give us a presentation on it. Fine. Then you have it. You will do it, or it will be a requirement. But yes, I am a fan of that. And as a matter of fact, I think we also, maybe Kara will remember this better than I do because my weeks have been flying by. We just did a live office hours where I was talking about this, and I can't remember which one it was or if it was in a video that we just released. Kara, I it's within the last couple of weeks. I got so many videos in my head I can't remember which one it was. But I know we just did this, even on one of the public videos that we talked about. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, take that back. It's coming out Tuesday on how to beat internal candidates. So yeah, sorry about that. It's coming out Tuesday. But Kevin, since you are a boot camper, if you would like to see that in advance of Tuesday, can you send me an email at support@milewalk.com, and I will send you the private link so you could watch it immediately if you need to, or you can wait till Tuesday. Either way, hope that helps. Maya, how you doing? A. Gardner, 2971. So maybe it's February 9th, 1971. Hey, Andy, just finished reading Interview Intervention for the second time. Thank you. I love that. Every time I read it, I get something different from it. Oh, thank you so much. It's concise. Oh, I totally appreciate that. I totally appreciate that. And Kara, can you do me a favor and get a screenshot of that? Because we are going to be doing some socializing of the book. If you are, by the way, Kara doesn't know this yet either, but I'm going to be doing some more circulating of Interview Intervention and doing some posts on social media. And I'll be inviting people to take pictures. And if I use your picture in an ad, I'll give you some stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a fun way to engage people like A. Gardner 2971, just and others that are in the Interview Intervention support group, and people that have already read the book. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Steve. Question. I don't pick up the phone when a recruiter, potential employer calls. I wait a few hours or until the next day, not to seem desperate. Is this smart? Well, I don't know. I personally never pick the phone up, no matter who calls me. So my school of thought on this is, if I'm getting a call from a potential opportunity and I'm looking for work, I probably would pick the phone up, and I would make sure then to say, I'm unavailable now. Can we please set a time to speak? That's gold. And as a matter of fact, I'm quite surprised that you would actually get cold calls, because most recruiters, third-party recruiters, they don't call. Corporate recruiters never call. And I don't see that happening a lot. So, I would pick the phone up and say, hey, I would love to speak with you, because now you can show them you're enthused. Could we please set a time? You caught me right in the middle of something. Set the time. There's nothing wrong with that. If I get a voicemail, this happens. We have people sometimes, they call, they want us to recruit for them. I don't pick the phone up. I call them back just like you, and then I never hear back from them. Now I'd at least rather have spoken with them. So that's my thought there. Daniel Mahias. Ottawa, Canada, a lot of Canadians. You are welcome for the material. Just signed a job offer 2 weeks ago. Awesome. Supposed to start July 22nd. I'm going to say congratulations, but I'm going to keep reading these questions. They were going to do personal background and criminal checks. Okay, that's typical. They do it through a third party. That's also typical. All right. Should I follow up with them to see the status or just assume everything is fine and show up at my new job on the agreed start date? Actually, Daniel, on that question, let me see if this is, I'm confident the background checks are going to be fine. However, it would be great to know. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. Yes, here's what I always recommend. When you sign your job offer, and it sounds like you signed it 2 weeks ago. So we're on June 27th. That means it was June 13th, let's say. Between June 13th and July 22nd, that's a long way. Okay, now I don't know what your profession is or what your function is, but I don't like more than a 4-week gap. Don't sweat it. Don't worry about what I'm saying. I always think that, the longer away that from the time you sign till the time you start, that's never a good thing because stuff can come up. Now, in your case, you might have agreed to the July 22nd date for any one of a number of reasons. Maybe you were going on vacation. Maybe your boss was going on vacation. It's summertime. We got the 4th of July, in there. Well, actually, no, you're not. You're probably not celebrating that. But I would not be concerned. What I would do, however, is I would follow up with them to say, have they been completed? Now, the other thing here is, I don't know if you were working and then signed and quit. I generally don't recommend we do those things until the background checks and everything has been performed. But in your case, it sounds like you're on the straight and narrow, not anything to worry about. I would not sweat this, but I would, to answer your question specifically, I would follow up with them. Just to make sure that everything's okay. And what I probably would do is if they started it a couple of weeks ago, I probably would wait till the end of next week and then just ask them. It can take a while. It depends what they do. Some of these things can be over in 24 hours. Some of these take weeks, depending on who they're using and how they're doing it. So I hope that helps. I would not worry. I would call, though. Or email. I think this is a question. Brian Allen, how are you? Is it possible your name plays a part in whether or not you get consideration? I feel like I have an old-fashioned first name and was just wondering if that's possible. If your name is Brian Allen, Brian with a Y, I would say that there is absolutely no effect that is having on whether you get considered. I really don't think so. I don't know you. I don't know if you are a white male, African American, Asian, this or that. Makes no difference to me or a lot of others. I don't think that at all is going to be a factor. I really don't. All right. Adam Stark, how you doing? Hey, Andy, I've done the 5 steps to career. Oh, God. Okay. So, Adam, I'll read this out and then I'll give you my quick advice. Adam is saying he's done the 5 steps to career happiness tasks. What he's referring to is I have some videos that I shot. There's 3 videos. It's a little series, and it's like 5 steps. Basically the first 5 steps you should take. I do it over 3 videos, but it's 5 steps. And it focuses on your why, your needs, your passions. A more updated version of that is how to find the right job. That's another video that I did. And my job search masterclass. Those are more recent versions of that same content. But it's good. So check it out if you're trying to figure out your career path. Now, with those exercises, you're going to come up with things that you need in your life to make you happy. So there's 2 things about self-awareness that I want I don't know that I've ever said it this way. When you are performing these self-awareness and self-discovery types of exercises that I've put out for you, There are two questions you're going to be constantly asking yourself. One is going to screw you up, and the other one is going to get you on the right track. Why? Why is this important to me? Why do I need that? What is it about that is driving me? Why do I care about it? Why do I think I need it? Is that actually what I need, or is that just a form of what I need? Okay, so that's the why part. And what I want you to do is, as you ask yourself this stuff, I want you to get down to the lowest level of why. As an example, I would like to work in a role where I get to manage people. Why? Why do you need to manage people? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. Is it because you want to coach and mentor people and it makes you feel good? Great. You can still have a job where you can coach and mentor people where you're not managing them, is my point. And you want to keep evaluating yourself to determine why that's important. The next question you got to ask yourself is, what do I need? So all of these things, so I need what is, I need a role where I can express myself as a coach, a mentor, or whatever, because it makes me feel good, and that's what I need in the role. What else do you need? I need to work within a reasonable distance from the home. I would like to work with other people because I'm social and I, get energy from people. These are your whats, okay? You ask yourself the what question, your self-discovery process will be absolutely golden, okay? If you do that, if you take those two steps. If you just ask yourself why, you're gonna be screwed up. Now, once you have your whats and the things that you need, then you have to evaluate different opportunities in the market out there in the world that could potentially do that. There's some detective work. There's some talking to people and sharing the types of things that are of interest to you and that you need to get ideas, okay? If you want to enlist my coaching, you can have my coaching, and I can tell you a half a dozen things you should look at based on a list that you give me. But one other tool that I would recommend that you try, I think there's a small fee. It's a small fee, but probably worth it for somebody like you, it's called YouScience, YOU science.com. And you can take, the thing I like about YouScience from what I've seen of it, and by the way, I get no money for telling you this, is that it takes your credentials as well and your interests into account, and some other things that I think are important to factor in, and then it spits you back a report, some data. This is not like, I'm not a fan of What Color is Your Parachute. If anybody's ever read this book, I think it's a total joke. It's going to come up with 200 things you can do. How's that going to help you? But I think YouScience will narrow things down. And the few people that I know that have taken this, one woman is a counselor that she uses it for her school, but some others have taken it, and it's come back like dead on. And I like that. So I'd recommend that to you. And I've interacted with these people because I want to take a deeper look at the program, because I want to see if it's something that I want to recommend on a more formal basis. I've yet to get there, but for purposes of giving you an option to investigate, I would try that. I would try that and see if it helps get you in the right direction. All right, hope that helps. Mary from Oakbrook, how you doing? From the backyard. Mary, can you believe we have? Can you guys? Do you know what that is? That's called sun. I haven't seen it in months, but it just came out. I think like a little bit yesterday when it rained, and then it came out, and now I ran in it this morning. It's very hot out there. All right, so I digress. All right, I was down to final 2 in my target city. Good job. So everything was that's artificial intelligence for me. I'm not sure. One assessment after the other. I kept passing to the next level. Final step was a one-way interview. Pretty horrifying to have video yourself. That's true. I like it, but I don't see why you guys would like it. Had to be in one sitting. And final question was job salary requirements today and in 3 years. This was 5 interview cycles deep. Was it a bad idea to throw a salary range? Yes. It was posted on Indeed. So what I would have said is Okay, wait, I think I got all of it. I think you have just the one question. All right, so I know some of you follow me religiously. Some of you probably just discovered me this morning. But one of the things that I recommend that you never do is give them a number or a range in the interview process, ever. Now, I know a bunch of you are going to be shaking your head saying, well, I have to give it on the application. Go ahead and fill, what you're used to earning on the application. Get into the process. You're going to have some recruiters huffing and puffing about why they won't move forward unless you give them a number. If you need to give them a number, give them a range. And then if you give them a range, just say, I'm, based on what I understand of my, the value I can contribute, what I think the market pay is for my position, whatever intel I gathered off the job description, this range is fine. I'd like to qualify that because I'd like to learn more about your company, what it offers, what I get to do, who I get to do, whatever's important to you. And, I'll be able to give you a better assessment toward the end. But if you need a number for now, for your purposes, then here's the range. And don't sweat it and just move on. Now, if I was in a one-way video interview, I would just say my salary requirements are open and what I would expect in 3 years will be based on my performance and the value that I'm contributing. However, for purposes of this interaction, I saw that it was posted on Indeed, and that salary range is, I'm comfortable with that salary range, provided these other things are in order. And I would just have said that. I actually would not have given them a number, even in that case. If the number was visible to me, they have a desired target number. But like most organizations in the world have what they have a desired number that they would like to pay, and they are willing to move that number based on what they're going to get from you. The more I get, the more I'm willing to pay. The less I get, the less I want to pay. So I might post 100K on Indeed. The problem with that is if I find somebody who is 80K, who I absolutely love, who can't get to the 100K in value, then I still might hire the person at 80, 85, and I'd be good to go. But somebody who comes in and already earns 100 and I want to give them a bump, I might be able to stretch it if that person's worth it to me. So, I don't love when employers force all this, and I really don't love what you're telling me here. It's just terrible, but that's how I would have handled it. I would also, because what's done is done, I would not sweat this. I really wouldn't, because I'm more interested to know if you get the job offer. All right. Let's see. Let me go back up here. Annie Ward. Annie Ward. On to round 3 of the interview process. Speaking with the hiring manager's peer, a peer of the role I'd be filling, plus a partner. Any advice on how to prepare for later in the stage interviews? Okay, wait. Hold on a sec. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. You're in the 3rd round. You're speaking not with the hiring manager, but with his or her peer. A peer of the role I'd be filling as well. Plus, you got 3 people you're interviewing with, it sounds like. Any advice on how to prep? I would point you to, I did a video on the second job interview. That's how I would prep. So there's a video that I have out there. It's relatively short, but it's got 3 or 4 key points on how I would go at second and late stage interviews. There's your answer. On also any advice on how to follow up with the recruiter post interview for concrete next steps. When I'm done, I immediately go back to the recruiter. Like immediately. I send my thank yous. So I go into the interview. Let's say you do it in one sitting or in one day. I send each of those 3 people a thank you. I copy the recruiter on every single one of them, because when you send a thank you email directly to the person who interviewed you, do not bank on the fact that that interviewer will send your thank you to the HR department and to the recruiter, which is where your thank you belongs for posterity. Okay, it needs to go in your file. They don't always do that. Okay, so the way that you ensure that is you copy the recruiter. So there's a little side bit of information, or the HR person or whoever's quarterbacking your process. Then I send a separate email to the recruiter, and I would then say, love meeting everybody. As you can see, I copied you on all the emails. Do you have any insight as to, actually what I probably would do is I probably would send it all within an hour or two. I'd say, I'm sure your team needs to, get together and discuss, but do you have any insight as to when I might hear back and what the next steps would be? That's what you want to know. That's what I would do. As a matter of fact, hey, Kara, can you take a note? I get this question a lot. I think we need to shoot a quick video, just a kind of a quick recorded video on this. So can you just make a note that I need to shoot a video on how to follow up after an interview? Not thank you oriented, but we get a lot of questions from people on how long should I wait? Should I contact the recruiter? All it. So I can set all that in motion, and I can also talk about making sure you're copying the recruiters and all that good stuff. All right, cool. Hey, she basis. I'm not sure how to say that. All that Guha Roy. So I think I saw one other one like this. So when you guys are saying, I'm trying to follow all your advice and nothing's working, what should I do? You realize I can't answer that. I don't know. Without seeing exactly what you're doing, and we get people who say this stuff. Finally, they say, I broke down and I joined your boot camp. Oh, I now see what I was doing wrong. Or maybe you just weren't hitting the right people at the right time. You have to realize that, you're putting out your messages and you're targeting companies and you're targeting people and you're targeting roles, and I've given you a ton of information where most trainers give it to you at this level. I give it to you at this level, but actually it's this level that you need. So, and that's what the premium programs are for. Now, without me being able to actually see what you're doing, what you're writing, who you're sending it to, whether you're, testing your resumes the proper way, what your cover letters say, who you're actually contacting, how you're contacting them, how you're following up, it's impossible for me to say what you should do. I hope you guys get that. So as much as I would love to help you, you can't just you can't just say, well, nothing's working. I don't. How long you been at this? Have you been doing it the right way? Are you using the right tools and templates? Are you focusing on the right things? So, I'm not sure what to say there. All right. Kristen, how you doing? Kristen, great to see you, my little boot camper. I don't know if you were at the session last night, or if you were, maybe you were quiet. That should be coming. I'm still cutting up the video for that. All right. Catherine McCoy, Friday? ? I'm not sure what that means. Bengal Baby, how you doing? Hey. Manuel from Istanbul, love it. Catherine from Canada. Bengal Baby. Okay. Bengal Baby, I love this question, and the answer is going to be a resounding hell yes. Does your material work for non-executives also? Older gal changing careers here. Any modifications I would make to resume template to interviews? Bengal Baby, we just had a boot camper. Her name's Kelly. I don't know if you're on my email list, but if you are, you probably saw a little clip from Kelly, who is over 50, was out of work, changing careers, changed states. Okay, so yes, it works. We have a lot of folks who want to change careers. I don't know what you do and what you want to change to. So, and by the way, this goes, for anybody. I know we just got done talking about when you throw me into the big blue ocean, that it's hard for me to, know how to troubleshoot. And for somebody like Bengal Baby, I love this, and I realize that YouTube only gives you so many characters to type. You only get like 200 or whatever it is. But if you are changing careers, it's really good for me to know, hey, I'm a this and I want to be a that. If you can get that in there, and even if you need to put a couple in a row, I'm usually pretty good at catching them, like you saw me with Mary. But yes, it works. I do have a Change Careers playlist. It's got about a half a dozen or so videos in it. And if you do stop by on July 9th, I'm going to be talking about how to look at your career change. And there's 3 things that, well, basically my career change methodology is 12 steps. It's broken into 4 stages, but I'm going to try to give you the biggest bang for your buck, and I'm going to carve out how I would look at things. If you can stop by on the 9th, that would be good, or at a minimum, catch the replay. But in the meantime, I would go to my Career Changer playlist for advice on that. And then modifications to the resume template. I would not modify the resume template. I would use it as is. The only difference that I would make in the resume template, there's one and then a qualification. All you career changers, you have to recognize that while your resume is what most people think the resume is a listing of work history, that's not what the resume is. The resume is a marketing document. The data you use to market yourself is your work experience and any other experience that you have that has created skills, capabilities, exposure, and stuff that you consider assets for yourself of value that you offer to the employer. And it should be slanted on where you want to go, not necessarily what you've done. So in a career changers, from a career changer standpoint, if you want to make a change but you don't have the requisite skills to get to that place, then you have to highlight your capabilities, those foundational abilities that are a little bit more characteristic oriented than hard skill oriented because you don't have them. Then if there are trade schools, universities, any other schooling that you've gone to make that career change, the alteration I would make to the resume template, if that's the case, is I would move the education up to the top below the career profile. So, we've had people who've gone back to get real estate license, paralegal degrees, other things of that nature that they wanted to make changes. You would bring that up to the forefront. We actually have a boot camper. I don't know that she's here, and she wants to make a switch into HR. But she recently got a degree within the last year or so. So for her, we moved it up. I recommended that we move it up to the top. Same kind of thing with you. All right, hope that helps. Rory, how you doing, my zombie review friend? Isa, how you doing? Again, so nice. My hand slipped. Dang. So nice to see you. Last week or the week before, whenever that was. That was awesome, and glad you're in the boot camp now. I hope you enjoyed that session last night. Todd, Andrew, love the material. My question. Okay, great. Thank you. You're welcome. My former employer agreed to let me stay actively employed for optics. I totally get that. That's good. Does the benefit of me being employed outweigh the value of me announcing to my networks that I'm available? Todd, I would not worry about any of that stuff. I would be reaching out to my network. I would tell them, hey, I'm on my way out, or I'm out and I'm wrapping up or whatever. I don't think, not just in this case, as a matter of practice, anybody who has these transitional items like Todd, by transitional, here's what I mean. I've been traveling for a year. I've been taking care of my sick child for a year. I decided I wanted to take a volunteer year and go, feed the kids. Whatever it is, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm returning after a 3-year gap. I'm a stay-at-home dad and I'm returning after a 1-year gap. Whatever it is, these are these transitional situations where you're re-entering the workforce. Now, with you're if people don't understand what Todd is saying here, just to be clear, what happens sometimes in separations is employers will do a couple of things. Sometimes it's, hey, Todd, we'll see you later. You're all done. It's June 27th and you're out. That's it. your employment of record ended on this day, was your last day, or whatever. Some employers will say, hey, you've been such a great person, a great soldier. Our practice is for somebody who served the company like you have, your last day is going to be the 27th, but we are maybe going to keep paying you till the end of August, or we will keep you on the company for record purposes through the end of August, but we'll pay out all your severance right now. So what that does is if you are job searching, you can let employers know, I've decided to leave, even though you haven't technically left yet, as far as the your past employer is concerned. And some people feel like that's to their advantage to show that they are working, and in somebody's mind that'll make them more attractive. I don't have a problem with it either way. To me, it doesn't matter if you're employed or not employed. If you've got the goods, obviously I'd want to know why you separated or why. So in your case, you're still going to have to answer, why are you leaving? Why did you leave? Whatever the case may be, based on the assumption that the hiring employer is going to make. I don't think with your network you need to explain it. So when I was talking about don't over explain to your network, I would just say, hey, I'm on the hunt. Okay. If I'm returning as a stay-at-home parent, hey, I stayed at home with the kids for 3 years. Hey, my mom was really sick. I needed to focus on my family. End of story. Like, it's quick. You need to be quick with these explanations. The more time you are spending explaining yourself, the worse it is. And most employers will immediately dismiss it. And in many situations, for people in my programs, I recommend that you add a sentence at the end of your career profile with that explanation, meaning you're being upfront about it. Not Todd, not in your case. I'm talking about if I'm a stay-at-home parent, returning to the workforce after being a stay-at-home parent from 2017 till now. Returning to the workforce after staying at home to care for elderly parent, period. You know what I mean? Like, just stuff like that is easy. But for you, I would keep my resume, 2015 to present or whatever it is, until it runs out, until the optics run out. That's what I would do. And I would not worry about it affecting my network at all. Let's see. Hindi roots. Can you speak about? I think that's the next one. Can you speak about securing interviews with large corporations internally? I'm wondering if what you're asking is how do you secure interviews inside your own company? And if it's I think that's what you're asking. If that's what you're asking, there are any number of ways to do that. The two most popular are large companies will always post, companies need to post their job openings. So I would certainly keep an eye on that. If it was me and I was in a large corporation where it was common practice where people were moving around, people change roles, that actually is a good thing, because wouldn't it be great if you have aspirations and you want to do other things that you stay with the organization? So any boss or managerial, the execs or whatever, should be happy that you want to stay, that you like the organization. You just want to, you want to change positions, and hopefully it's because you want to grow and you're not running away from a bad boss. If it's me, I like to be above board on things. So I would go to my boss and I would say, hey, I have aspirations, and if something opens, I'm going to keep my eye out. I'm going to look for that. I'd appreciate if you let me know. And is there anything you can do to help me, get it with recommendations or whatever? And if things are already open and you have any kind of relationship with people in the other divisions or wherever it is, I would go to them directly and I would say, I'm interested. I want you to know I'm going to be putting my resume in. And I would almost treat it as though I have to take responsibility from a networking standpoint to get engaged with them and express my interest, instead of just dropping my resume into the internal database or whatever it is. But those are the those are two common ones that I would use. All right. Daryl Newman, how are ya? How do I answer an interview question related to my lack of advancement and progress with my career path? Now, Daryl, what you didn't tell me is, do you have one role for 10 years with the same company? Or do you have different roles with, same title with 3 different companies over 10 years? I would answer all that differently. So can you let me know what the situation is, and I could give you some ideas. If it's the former, then I need to know, sometimes you work for organizations where you can't advance because there is nowhere to go. Sometimes you can't advance because there's only one product to support. And you like the organization, you're a support engineer, this is the product we support, and I was on the help desk team. I mean, I would need to know more about what you do and what the makeup looked like to give you a good answer there. All right, Manuel, I'm a professional that also teaches, and I am looking to find a job as a teacher elsewhere. I watched almost everything you post. The question, my resume now is a mix of professional and academic. Is your question the question? My resume now is should I break the CV or continue with the current mix? All right, here's what I probably would do. Here again, I don't know. So if you have, okay, let's say you got 20 years. You got 10 academic and 10 professional. That's one thing. If you got 3 teaching and 17 professional, that's different. It also, what's the sequence? Is it 5, 5, 5, and 5, and you're jumping back and forth? So in order to tell you how to do that, I would need to know that. So let's just say, I'm going to make some assumptions here. Let's say you got an even blend, okay? If you've got an even blend, then what you could do is you could, in your career profile, talk about how you have professional and academic experience as whatever you were and a teacher, right? So you can do that. So skill to operate in multiple environments. That's what you're saying. And what I would probably do then is my highlights would be accented toward what I wanted, whether it's professional or academic. So if you're looking for a job as a teacher, then I would bring forward all of my teaching credentials. Or what you could say in the career profile is, I have 20 years of experience, 10 as a teacher, or whatever it is. And you could do it that way, and you can really put the accent up top on the teaching components. And then your highlights could be teaching, and then your work experience can just be chronological as it lays out. So if it's me and I have a mixture, that's the way I would recommend to do it. I would get their eyes focusing in the career profile and the career highlights on the things that I want to go for, because it's about where you want to go, not necessarily where you've been. But and the way that I articulate my professional accomplishments would be, as much as possible, if I could highlight how I coached, mentored, taught, and whatever. So I'm still gaining, teaching and managing skills, and those are actually good carryovers into teaching. So that's what I would do there. It would be nice to know that, but I'm guessing you can work with that. All right. Rory, how you doing? Oh, God. All right. I seem to have much more character and charisma with ladies interviewing me than men. Is there anything I can do to balance it out more? Oh, Rory. So, I'm not sure why you're not connecting with men. I feel like when I meet people, when I interview people, whether I'm interviewing them or they're interviewing me, I try to be my warm and genuine self with everybody, and I try to connect with them on whatever we can connect on. So I'm not even sure what to say here. I really not. You guys are giving me some stumpers today. Normally I don't know. I don't ever remember a live office hours where I had this much trouble answering this many questions. But I'm not. I try to not differentiate between men, women, race, anything. I try not to put any of that in my mind at all. I don't think a lot of that's relevant. But I don't know, and what I would refer you to, Rory, is you've got the Interview Intervention book. In chapter 4, I think it is chapter 4, it's about friending the interviewer. I would look at that. I really would. That's my advice, final answer. Sam, how you doing? Kristen, my boot camper. I'm 90 days into my new position. Yay! Great people, but not loving the work. Okay. Much less client interaction and more internal interaction than I hoped. Okay. Plus only busy about a fourth of the time with real work. Trying to do as much self-guided study training on my own. Any suggestions with how to make this role work? Should I ask my boss for more to do? No. Okay. I know that will come, but impatient. All right. This is a great, Kara, another one, please. Can we add this? We need to shoot this. What do you do for anybody who's not happy in their role but wants to stay? I mean, because you're not happy, you could leave. But in Kristen's situation, so let's just be really clear. So she's got this role, and I might be overgeneralizing here, Kristen, but for everybody's benefit, I think we'll get the illustration. So some of it she likes, some of it's kind of mundane. It's not really, really, really high-powered, high-value work as much as she would have hoped. So what you don't want to do, the mistake I see a lot of people make is they go to their boss or they communicate to somebody, I'm not busy enough, I'm not challenged enough, I'm not whatever enough. Okay? Now, what they could do is they say, oh, well, we'll give you more busy work, right? You want more? We'll give you more busy work, right? We'll give you more crap. We'll give you different crap, okay? You run the risk of that happening. Okay, now, if it was me and I had this mixture, whether it was 50-50 or a quarter or whatever, I would go to my boss and I would say, by the way, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if this was true, I would approach it this way, and you can kind of cherry pick here and then leave the rest. But I would say, look, I'm really enjoying the company and the environment and the people, and I noticed, now that I'm 3 months in, that a lot of the work is, some of this is a bit mechanical, some of this is higher value. And I want, so that you're expressing your observation. That's not, I'm disgruntled, I'm anything. That's just sharing what you observed, right? It's not a complaint. I want to make sure that I'm adding as much value as I possibly can. And I noticed that these activities that I'm focused on are really the high value activities. And some of these are the lower value activities, but they're chewing up a lot of time. So is there anything that you would suggest that I could do to where we can shrink the amount of time on this? Now, the first thing that I would do, even before I said that, was I would probably try to come up with ideas to optimize, to reduce the time it took to do something. Automate it. Is there an ability to outsource it? Hand it to somebody. Say, because you're paying me a lot of money to do a lot of this stuff. So I'm trying to make sure that we're not spending as much time doing that. And I would approach it that way, because I would not look at what you just said about your role and the distribution of high value to low value. I would never be going into a discussion with my boss thinking it was a one and done. Okay? So what you want to do is you don't want to go in and say, hey, I'm not happy, or geez, you hoodwinked me, or you did whatever. Just say, hey, I noticed there's this mixture, but I want to let you know I'm spending 75% of my time on these activities that are pretty simple, pretty mundane, or whatever it is. So I want what I'm going to try to do is I've got some ideas, or I'd like to focus on that. As I get into that, do you have any ideas of how we might minimize this or get a lower cost resource to do that or help? So I would have very myopic goals for a series of these discussions, and that's how I would open it up. Then I would have to go down the path of, what'd your boss say? Is he or she open to it? Are they not open to it? And so on. And then I would alter it. And by the way, this might be something great for you to ask me in a couple weeks when the boot camp starts up again. And we got a cluster of this stuff if you can. But that's how I would approach it. You insulate yourself from looking disgruntled. Your boss is not going to be on the defensive, right? And what you're saying is, I'm really smart. I want to add a lot of value. And I think we can optimize this stuff, process improvements, right? Those kind of things. So I hope that helps. All right, Manuel, I think I got you there. Hang on, did I? All right, hold on. Sorry. I know some of you, a couple things. Wait, it's good to take a little break here. I know some of you probably put things in twice. I just go in order from the beginning where I see the question marks. Okay? And I think I got any word, unless I was out of sequence. Kathleen, so nice to see you. Great to see you. You're a great hugger. You really are. Loved seeing you. Wayne Palermo, how you doing? Wayne, this is a great question. Wayne is asking, what would you ask from your list of 75 questions for a second round interviewer with top administrator? I always feel that second and subsequent rounds are about building connection on a deeper level. So I gave you 75 questions. I don't know, specifically what the role is, I know you said top administrator, but that could be the FO. It could be an HR person. It could be, I'm not really sure who that is. But I would always pick first thing I would do is I would have all my questions that matched up to my criteria. What info do I need to get in order to make a good decision about whether this is a good company for me? Then, after I go through the first round, what didn't I get? I would move that over. Is there anything I need to clarify? I would also ask that. But it's about building a deeper relationship with the people. Now, if it's a second round interview, I don't know if it's the first one with this person or if this person just happens to be in the second round. So if this is a top exec in the company and it's the first time meeting with that person, then I would be going after the very strategic questions at the corporate level in that cluster of the 75. Go upstream, go all the way to the top, go with the company focused ones and the strategy. If this is the second time with the same person, then what you need to do is you need to expand on some of the things that you discussed initially, and the things that I would do is I would say, I thought about this, we talked about this. One thing I recognized is I'd like to get your perspective on that. So what you're showing them is, hey, I've been thinking about this, right? So I don't know, you're gonna have to pick from that because I'm not sure if it's the second round with the same person or if it's just a second round. And I would also watch my second job interview video. If you go to my YouTube channel, in the search bar on my channel, and just type second, SCCOND, job interview, it'll come up. All right. Wait, just to reiterate. Okay. The boot camp session that we did last night on opening up the LinkedIn database, finding anybody you want, LinkedIn X-ray so you can target people, how to get their email addresses, how to verify them, and how to know what they did with your email. All that stuff is available. The price of the boot camp went up, but if you email me at support@malwalk.com, I'll drop it to $100. The other things is I'm out next week for the 4th of July. When we come back after the U.S. holiday, I'm available on the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th in live office hours fashion. But if you want to get alerted to those, I would make sure you're subscribed to the channel and the little bell. Click the bell so you get the alerts, so that the alerts are on. Grab the calendar. You can get the calendar, the whole calendar from all my live events at themilewalkacademy.com. You can also get the catalog. Grab the free interview intervention book. I think that's it on announcements. Let me take some more questions. I'm gonna go. I've got a hard stop at 12:15 today, folks. So we'll try to get as many of these in as we can. All right, Steph. All right. In an interview, how do you explain changing your career after 10 plus years to a position you have some knowledge of but very interested in? I'm not sure that this is as complicated as you might think. So here's the outline of what I would say. I've got a lot of experience at this position, but I've been feeling like I want something more. It should usually be more. Don't use the word different, okay? I want something more, and I did a lot of self-discovery. I took a really close look at what drives my happiness. I outlined the things that were important to me, what I wanted to focus on, why I wanted to focus on it, and all that good stuff. And I discovered that these types of position lend themselves very well to all the things that I want to do and that I'm interested in. And that's why I'm interviewing. If you're actually interviewing, that's a good thing. As a career changer, to get an interview is more difficult than a job changer just changing companies, because a lot of times they have the credentials. I don't think that that's a tough explanation at all. I thought about it. I evaluated it. I lined up what was important to me, and now here I am. I wouldn't over-explain that. I actually, if somebody is interviewing you and they're really poking at, so I'll give you a good example. Actually, this might be worth talking about. Some years back, there was a woman, she was a consultant, and she worked at a large company, and we had some relationship. I didn't know her, meaning we had a connection. She wanted to become a recruiter, okay? She wanted to come and work at MileWalk. And my line of questioning, as somebody who was a technology consultant who wanted to become a recruiter, I was very interested in what she thought a recruiter did. So I'm asking questions just to gain an understanding of, does she really understand what it takes to do what I do and how difficult that can be? Because a lot of people just think, well, geez, you just get paid a lot of money to go and talk to people and ask them to change jobs, and that's not what we do. So what I would caution you on is the explanation about why you want to change needs to be buttoned up. But even before all that, I would ask you, are you sure you want to do that? So what is it you think that is? And the best way to get that intel is to talk to people in that role. Now, you might have already done that. And if so, awesome. Then you can explain your understanding of what this role is. But just all the career changers out there, anybody who's considering that, please do your due diligence to make sure that you're making a good change, because nothing's worse than changing and then having to change again, and you feel like you made a bad decision and all that good stuff. Mary, we are going to be doing a Chicago meetup. We are. So that's for Mary. And Kara is showing you the details on the boot camp. I'm not sure what that is. That looks weird. Arwen. Okay, thank you for asking this. Arwen's asking me, hey, Andrew, how would I go about scheduling an hour private consultation with you? So I don't talk a ton about this, but I do offer private coaching sessions. I have two different ways that you can get those sessions. If you are in my job search boot camp, because I love to make sure that you have all the methodology, the entire system, the framework, and so on, and you know all the steps and you have all the tools. Then you can buy a session or enroll or add an add-on service for a video session with me. If you want to do it in person, that's fine. If you want to do it on the video, what's nice about that is we record it all, and then you have it forever and ever. And those are usually about an hour or so, depends, but you can get one of those. That's for boot campers only, and that makes me feel really good, because if you go through the boot camp or you have the foundational stuff in order, it is amazing how effective statistically a boot camper who goes through the program, who then has one consultation with me, and what those results are like, and their ability to get a job and get it quickly is off the charts, 90 some odd percent. Okay, so that's the best way to do it. And then if a few people have wanted an extra session, which is totally okay. Sometimes somebody's interviewing and they've got different places they want to go, and they want me to coach them right up before then. That's fine. Some people want me to help them figure out which direction they should take their career. Everybody's got different needs. We did a session the other day with somebody, I don't know if she's on here. She moved countries and now has an interview in her new country. There's a lot of things that they do. That's one way. The second way is to enroll in my package of coaching. There's a series of coaching sessions that you would have. That's $5,000. It starts at $5,000. So I always recommend that you go through the boot camp route, because most people are darn successful that way. But anybody, I will say this, and I would caution you whether you enroll with me or you do this with somebody else, but anybody who wants a private coaching session, if a coach is willing to just take your money and give you a few moments on the phone or on the video or in person or whatever, it doesn't work. A lot of you are coming to me because there are things that you either think are wrong with what you're doing, or not sure where to go, or maybe you have an aspiration or whatever it is. But lots of times, what you think is wrong with your process isn't the place that is wrong. It really isn't. It's usually over here somewhere else. And it takes more than one just quick session to diagnose that. If you go through the boot camp, you can self-diagnose. You will know what to do, what not to do. Then when you come to me with a coaching session, that's what makes the one session so powerful, is that you already have all the foundational knowledge. But somebody who comes in totally cold, we have to go back to the beginning. Then there's a whole process that they have to go through. And in order for me to ensure success, that's what it takes. And I'm telling you that because I've learned that by doing this. And so I know you didn't ask for all that, Arwen, but if anybody wants a private consultation, you can do a couple things. You can email me at support@milewalk.com. There is we can help you, and we can send you a message with what the options are and what we recommend. There's also a form that you can fill on the Mile Walk Academy front page. There's one-on-one coaching form for job seeking. I also have other coaching that I do that is not on the page. That is very different, and it's tailored differently for people who have aspirations, who want to do different stuff. But anytime you ever have a question, you're not sure where to look for something or where to find it, just email support@milewalk.com and we'll help you. Catherine says, why does I don't know. Gary, how you doing, buddy? Great to see you. Steve G, where can I watch that LinkedIn video on finding anybody? That was a private boot camp session. So anybody who is in the boot camp has access to that, or at least will be able to watch the replay after I get the replay up today. It is not available to anybody else unless you pay into the boot camp. Kara, I'm wondering if one of those links, you said details on the boot camp. I'm wondering if you put the job search accelerator, or maybe not. I don't know. I can't see it. Jesse, how would you negotiate salary with a government employer? With governments, it's a little different. So you're actually, so governments are a little bit different than commercial organizations. With governments or academia, so for example, my wife is a teacher. She goes on an interview with another school, and they have a set salary schedule by the district. The government is the same way. They have a set salary schedule based on your level. You're an A1, an A2, an A3, whatever, and so on. So you're not actually negotiating the salary. You are negotiating the level that you're coming in at. And that, my friend, Jesse, is all dependent on your experience and the value you're going to show them that you can help them realize. So what you're trying to do is saying, I need to get in at this level, because then your salary will start at that level as opposed to the level right below it, which is going to be lower. So that's more of an interviewing question. And then I would point you back to all my interview and stuff on that. But just so you guys know that it's not, lots of times there's not the freedom that there is in the commercial industry. All right. Handy Roots. I interviewed for a job internally but did not get the job. I've secured a follow-up mentoring session with the interviewer next week. Awesome. What do I ask them? I would want to know the gaps that you need to close in order to get that job. So the big question you need to ask them is, okay, that's great. I love the feedback. So what are those specific areas that you would recommend I work on so that I can actually achieve and secure that role? And it would be a lot about your personal growth. If that person is going to help mentor you, that's what I would do. That's what I would focus on. And I would make all my questions around that. Carrie Freeman, hey, Andy with you are welcome. Steph, tried your suggestions as far as keeping salary away from discussion and even asking for the company's range, but when an owner insists for that salary and then persists on a lower number, how to handle. So everything in your life, all of you, is a choice. So if I felt I was worth more, I would get up and leave that discussion if that was the case. You have that option. You can leave. If you're hard-pressed, you need the job, then your financials come into play. You need the job. Are you okay with that lower number? I mean, it's, how to handle it is that this now becomes a choice, because if they're not going to let you negotiate that and they don't see the value the first thing is, I'm assuming you're right with the range. You could be overinflating what it is that you think you're worth. I'd like to think you are accurate and this person is lowballing you. So let's go with that. But if that's the case, then I would make my argument that, hey, look, if you really love me and you want me to work here, then this is what I need, and here's why, and here's the value I'm going to contribute, and here's why I'm worth it. But other than that, I would go back to all the salary stuff that I've shot. There's a salary negotiation playlist out there. I would still use all those tactics. But if if the owner is trying to get an idea of where you fit, I would not be arguing with the owner up front. I would just say, look, I'm open. If that's your number, then I'm open. And then I would get in there and I would prove myself. And then I would show them how much value I could help them realize, because you need to be negotiating for that when your stock is the highest, not at the beginning. And so if that's the case, I would wait until the end. I would just say, fine, let's keep talking. Joe, how you doing? I'm scheduled for an in-person that I am being flown in for. Awesome. Need to create a 30, 60, 90-day presentation. What do you recommend on what I need to include or not include? What is it that you do, Joe? Do you? I can't tell you what to put in there if I don't know what you do. If you head to the bottom and you tell me what your profession is, and what the role is, I will tell you what to put in the plan. And then Kara can slack it to me. Todd, I interviewed, was deemed way overqualified. There's no such thing, by the way. I know they tell you that. But then the HR person set up a one-on-one call with me and the CEO. Awesome. I seem to often get this reply, we like you, but would need to make a role for you. I don't know what's wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So first off, are you actually targeting the right roles for you? So my first reaction is, if you're engaging and trying to figure out what the role, I mean, you've got to make sure that you are submitting your resume, targeting roles that are appropriate for you. If you are always going in and being overqualified, then what I would say is, so if I had an opportunity to talk to the CEO, I would say, what I would start with, okay, this is great. What's your biggest challenge and where do you need the most help? And I'd be happy to show you, how my experience and my skills align to that. But if you're getting an opportunity to speak with the CEO, they must really like you. They must really like you. So I'm about where do we find the intersection between what you need and what I can offer, and obviously what you can afford. But my answer for anybody who gets you're overqualified response is, okay, so first line of defense, is the role malleable so that you can alter it to take advantage of my experience and the things that I can do for you? That's one option, right? And then you raise the rate, you raise the scope of the role, and so on. If they cannot do that, then you need to explain to them, I'm interested in getting in the company. I'm comfortable with, the pay, and I'm confident that I can prove myself, and so on. You can go that route too. That's a personal choice. But I would play big ball, not small ball. How do we make this work, and how can we figure out a way to take advantage of my experience and how it can help you? All right. Now, Joe is a claims director of a healthcare company. All right. You manage claims. Do you manage claims processing, adjudication, and all that stuff, I would imagine? So let's say you do. All right. I'm assuming that they are hiring you to run the claims department. So what would you do in the first, I would be asking in the interview process, what do we do now? Sources of the claims. What system do we use? Do we need a new system, right? Do you feel like you're staffed appropriately? How many claims are we processing each day? How many do we need to process each day? How do we, I would get all my data, and then I would have to look for what is it that I need to improve. So based on the data they gave me, I would include, no matter what, an evaluation component. So in the early days of the first 30 days, I would be evaluating our processes, evaluating the staff, right, evaluating the system if it's not broken, and all that good stuff, right? I would make sure that I would be looking for, claims. There could be a lot of errors. Are there any, have we had a history of problems? Okay, so there's just, the first month is doing all of that. The second month is evaluating and optimizing our processes, our systems, and so forth. And that may take, another 30 days to look at and alter whatever it is you need to alter. There might be some hiring components and other things that you would want to put in there, right? Some people might leave as a result of you coming. You might dismiss some people as a result of you coming. These are all kinds of things that would be naturally happening anytime somebody at your level was being hired into a position like that. So, and then the other thing is, okay, what then strategic initiatives are we going to need to implement? So based on my observations and my evaluations of the processes and those kind of things that I would be doing probably within the 30 to 60 days, then I would probably start implementing whichever ones need to be implemented between 60 and 90. But if the healthcare is just, they lost their director and they just need to replace you, then you walk in the door and there's not a whole lot for you to do but manage the people. That's obviously going to create a problem. You got to create this plan. So those are the kind of things that I always go after in any 30, 60, 90-day plan. But depending on anybody's function, for all you that are not claims directors, you're going to have to make accommodations for that. All right, let me see. I am way late, so I need to run, folks. If I did not get to your question, this will be recorded. It's DVR set, so you can rewind me or whatever. But in a few minutes, you'll be able to drop your comments into the comments section underneath the video. And then I'm out next week, or just for the holiday, and then I'm back on the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th. And then if you are so inclined, we start a new boot camp on the 12th. So I'm doing a little fanfare and a little workshop as kind of a prerequisite into a 5-week run of boot camp, private boot camp coaching sessions, which is going to be a ton of fun. So I hope to see you all there. I hope you enjoyed this. It's good to be back. You stumped me today, but for anybody, anytime you're asking me a question, the more detail you can give me, the better. You got to let me know what you need. And I'll see you. You'll be getting a new video out on Tuesday. And everybody, hope you have a good, hopefully now that summer's finally here, you're enjoying it. All right, take care. We'll see you soon.